AI and the rise of technology. By 2035, we're going to see an increase in many jobs becoming obsolete. And at the same time, there will be a shortage of skilled STEM workers. I read an article earlier in the week that when you look at the people who have quit their jobs, particularly the women who have left the workplace, 80% say they want a STEM job. We know that's going to set us up for the future. If you were giving short-term advice to our listeners based on this longer-term forecast, how can we best prep ourselves for this future world and for several decades of career success?
So lifelong learning is really important here, especially through this transition period to highly automated societies. So the ability to adapt and the ability to be able to change your career fairly rapidly by learning new skills, particularly in the STEM arena, is going to be a really valuable skill set. And so even for our children going through education systems today, the ability to problem solve, to learn new skills rapidly in very diverse areas, I think is something that we should be teaching, that sort of skills. The closest we've got to this is probably the Nordic system, where they have a sort of, maybe Montessori in sort of classical terms. There are mechanisms for changing the way people can learn. But you're right, the labor shortages, whenever we have booms like the dot-com boom in the 90s and the early noughties, the tronics boom in the 60s, we always have this pattern of it changes employment. You have unemployment as a result of technology displacing people, and you have labor shortages because, you don't have the right skills. And in the US right now, we're not training in anywhere near enough STEM graduates to fill the jobs that we already have, let alone the jobs that are coming. China produces 3 PhD STEM graduates for every one that we produce in the United States. That's why we need the H-1B system today to supplement our workforce. But it would be better if we could actually build an education system that had STEM as its output. But we are a very 20th century industrial nation in terms of thinking here in the US as respect to employment. People are entering university right now with finance jobs that will be obsolete by the time they graduate. And so that's really the core problem.
Core problem, and very scary as a parent who's paying all of that tuition, as I know a lot of our listeners are.